Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to the live broadcast of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. For those of you that have been watching me through the years, you know that we have been, for years, going out live on YouTube and Rumble, X, formerly Twitter, as well as LinkedIn. And you also know that I've had issues with YouTube through the years, and it's come to a head. And I am going to stop using YouTube for the live program. Matter of fact, tonight will be the last show live on YouTube until further notice. We have a lot of things that we're trying to get accomplished to get YouTube to stop the censorship that is happening. One of the main things is that they will not allow me to monetize the live broadcast, yet they make money off of it. That's just one of many things which we will go into. So if you happen to be watching me tonight on the YouTube channel, remember that you need to go over to Rumble and follow the Douglas Ducote Show there after tonight. Because after tonight, until further notice, there will be no live show on the YouTube platform. We will just be going out live on Rumble, X, formerly Twitter, as well as LinkedIn. And of course, the show is always uploaded to my website, douglasducote.com, afterwards. And I will also upload it to my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is not going to go anywhere. I will still be putting out videos on the YouTube channel. But the live broadcast of this show that you're watching right now is not going to be on YouTube until we can get things worked out and get them to stop the censorship of this show and the things that they have been doing. So let's talk about first, before we get into tonight's news, I want to talk about the reasons why we're going to come off the YouTube platform. The number one reason is censorship. Things that I have tried to share with my audience about, let's say, COVID, for instance. Back when COVID was running rampant, let's go back, look at it, 2019, 2020. I would try and share information that came directly from doctors that are in the field treating patients with COVID. And when I would try and share that information, they would label it as false or fake information, misleading information. And then they would put me in timeout to where I couldn't do anything for a week, sometimes 2 weeks. Reached a point to where they basically said that unless it came directly from the CDC, it was fake news. Well, I don't know who died and left YouTube and Google in charge of what is or isn't fake news when it comes to medical news, but that kind of stuff was blatant censorship in our face. And it just didn't happen to me. It happened to everybody out there that was conservative, Republicans, any podcaster out there that was using a YouTube platform that was trying to report on real news involving COVID or even involving the vaccine, YouTube would shut you down unless it was coming directly from the CDC. And of course, we all know now about the CDC and how horrible and hateful they were. And a lot of the stuff that we were reporting on that they claimed to be fake news wasn't fake news. It was real stuff. And what they said was fake and other people said it was conspiracy theories. Turned out that we were right all along. All right. So there's a problem there when a platform decides what is or isn't fake news based off of what one particular organization, the CDC or the World Health Organization, puts out. And so that was one of the first things that really just irked me and a lot of other people. A lot of other people just left YouTube altogether and went over to Rumble permanently. A lot of my friends, people that had YouTube channels. So that was one of the things. The other thing is we started noticing, going back shortly after this whole thing with the COVID issue, where people started getting unsubscribed to the Douglas Ducote Show podcast on YouTube. And we're not talking about just little numbers. We're talking big numbers. We're talking in a 28-day period of time, and that's how they do it. They do it in 28 days. In 28-day period of time, it went from seeing 200 people unsubscribing to 500 people unsubscribing to 1,000 people unsubscribing. Now, I get it. Yeah, there are people that will unsubscribe to YouTube channels, but this was out of the norm. All right. I mean, think about this. How many times have you unsubscribed from a YouTube channel or a Rumble channel or wherever you're watching or wherever you get your information from? You just don't go back there again. You know, it's just, you know, or don't click the notification button. And which is one of the other things that we're going to talk about here in a second. So I would reach out to YouTube and they would tell me that this is just normal. People unsubscribe all the time from channels, and that's to be expected. Well, except the problem was I've got you, my subscribers, reaching out going, Doug, I'm always being unsubscribed from your channel, and I have to go back and resubscribe again. You know, I don't know why YouTube is doing this, but it's happening. And then it was happening to my children. It was happening to my family members. It's happening to my wife. They weren't unsubscribing from the show, yet YouTube claimed that people are just unsubscribing. So we knew that was a lie. We knew that YouTube was doing this on purpose, unsubscribing people. And to this day, they still claim that they're doing nothing of that nature. All right. So if you go back and you look at this show through the years, you'll remember that going back to, let's say, 2019 era, we were pushing close to 400,000 subscribers. And then the show subscription started going in reverse. Instead of it going up in numbers, it was going down in numbers. Again, people being unsubscribed. Then it got up to where it was 1,000 every 28 days being unsubscribed. Now we're down to, I think the YouTube channel has about 122,000 subscribers, and that number is still going down. What we did seem to find out was that in between doing the show, nobody unsubscribed, and there would be new subscribers come in. But once the show would go on air, boom, all these numbers started going back down again. So I decided to test my own theory. And I went to a program where you can actually pay to have this company advertise your YouTube channel on YouTube. And it would show up on, you know, as a anybody would go to the main portion of YouTube, you know, it would show up there as something that you might be interested in. So I paid this company some money, and they went in and started advertising the Douglas Ducote Show on the YouTube platform. And what happened was we started getting a lot of people now signing up that didn't know the show existed before. And we would go through, in between the show, picking up 200, 300, 400 new subscribers. After the show, the exact amount of people that were new, that subscribed, all of a sudden unsubscribed. So there we had it. YouTube was doing this on purpose. And as far as I'm concerned, that's some Nazi Germany censorship crap or Russian communist crap. All right. And I don't like that, as I'm sure you don't either. Nobody likes that. Then we started finding out that there are certain things that I can't talk about on my live show on when it was on YouTube, or when it's on YouTube. Yet the left can say whatever the hell they want, and they weren't censoring their channels. All right. One of the things, for instance, that you may recall going back last year, or at least over a year ago, I had a company that was advertising on my show that I was promoting their brand, and it was Jumpin' Jack's gun company that would clean weapons and do armory type work on your weapons. They were a sponsor of this show. So in return, at the opening of the Douglas Ducote Show, you would see my advertisement for their company. And in my advertisement, you may remember, it started off with me with my AR-15 firing off a few rounds. And then I stop, turn, and walk towards the camera, and in 30 seconds, tell you about this company and how I use them for my weapons, for cleaning purposes, for any type issues with my weapons or any problems, to help promote their business, because they're sponsoring my show. And YouTube comes along and decides that I'm promoting violence, and therefore I can no longer have this person as a sponsor. Now, you tell me, how many weapon type programs are on YouTube? There are thousands of them, thousands of channels promoting different types of, whether it's Second Amendment stuff, range stuff, teaching you about different types of weapons, and they're fine. And they can have their show and they can go out there and shoot weapons all damn day long on YouTube. And YouTube doesn't do anything to them. But I could not. So I had to lose this sponsor because of the video of me shooting an AR-15 before I walk up and say, the information about the company. And they've still, to this day, have never responded as to why they did that to me, other than either you stop doing this or we're removing your channel. So I didn't have a choice. So it was obvious that they were doing this on purpose to destroy the Douglas Ducote live show. Again, I can do any video I want with an AR-15 or my AK-47. I can go out and for an hour and shoot my guns and have somebody film this and put it up as a regular video, and YouTube's fine with it. But I couldn't use them as a sponsor without being told that I'm promoting violence. And there is a lot of YouTube channels out there that are promoted, that have sponsors that are gun manufacturers and people that work with weapons and clean weapons or teach you how to use different type weapons. But I couldn't do it. So all this together became very obvious that YouTube was up to stop me and shut me down. Okay. Then there were certain things, like I mentioned, about the vaccine. When stuff in COVID, when things started coming out from the medical department, from major medical schools in America, and I would share their information with my listeners, then I'm putting out medical misinformation, and I get put in timeout. When I've got information coming directly from scientists and people working on the vaccines or working with COVID, but yet I can't share that with you. Another thing was veteran suicides. I had a nonprofit. I'm the founder of Veterans United for Justice, and we do a lot of work with veterans to help with veterans with PTSD and the suicide epidemic that is happening with veterans. And I would come on and I would share that information, and then they would say I'm promoting suicide, which is absolutely nuts. I'm just doing the opposite. I'm trying to help veterans. But yet, either you stop doing this or you're going in timeout. Well, I kept doing it, and sure enough, I would get shut down for a week where I couldn't do a live show. I couldn't even post a video. So somehow along the way, I got put into this queue on YouTube for censorship. And I'm not the only one. I've got plenty of friends, because I've had them on this show before. If you remember, going back 2019, 2020, 2021, every now and then I would do a show with other YouTubers that would all come on my show, and we would debate certain issues. We'd call it the Patriot Panel. And I would go on their show and vice versa to help us build audiences. And these folks didn't want anything to do with that. Excuse me. Sure, there you go. So it was this complete and utter disregard for factual information and doing their damnness to shut me down and stop me from continuing to put out information that is helpful, and then try and get them to explain to me why they're doing this to me. And they did it to these other YouTubers as well that were part of my group for the Patriot Panel. Many of them had the same issues happening to them. People being unsubscribed in the masses, being censored, shut down for things they've said that other people can say, and they're not affected. So it got to the point where I just said enough. I'm done with that. As far as I'm concerned, YouTube, which is owned by Google, and Google is, as you may or may not know, is anti-Republican, anti-conservative, anti-Donald Trump. And I believe it all has something to do with that. I really do. I believe it all circles around that. And the fact that I'm very outspoken and in your face kind of stuff. I'm not politically correct, as all of you that watch this show know. And they didn't like that. Somebody at YouTube didn't like that. And therefore, we ended up in this quagmire. And it reached a point of stupidity. And so that's what's got us moving. That's what's got us going now. The live show after tonight on Tuesdays and Thursdays will be on Rumble and X, formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn only until we can get some answers. Some of the other things that we're working on through my senator is to get me up to Washington, D.C. to testify in front of Congress, along with some of these other conservative YouTubers that were friends of mine, still are friends of mine, that were also censored the same way I was. So we can explain what they're doing to us and prove it. And we've got massive records to prove everything they've done, even saved chats that I've copied, both going back and forth with YouTube. Congress has done this with Facebook, and they done it with before Elon Musk bought Twitter and made it X. They did it with Twitter to go after them for what they were doing and the censorship they were doing. And got them to start changing this stuff up and not doing it as much. But they never went after YouTube. And YouTube needs to be exposed for what they're doing to conservatives and Republicans. All right. And I plan to continue to push this envelope. Now, on Wednesday nights, my wife and I will still do our live show that will go out on Rumble and X as well as YouTube. They don't have a problem with that. If I sit here with my wife, we can talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about, as long as I'm not talking about politics or we don't bring Donald Trump into this. Then they don't care. But when it comes to this live show, the Douglas Ducote Show, YouTube has an issue with that. Now, why not just remove my channel altogether and just be done with me? You know, I think it's just a psychological warfare thing. Just let's screw with this guy and see where we can get what we can get away with. And they've done a hell of a job of destroying the show on their platform. So until further notice, starting next week, you will see, if you come to find me on YouTube for the live program, you're not going to see it. You want to see it live, and I hope you do. You go to Rumble. It's free, just like YouTube. And you can either make your own Rumble account, where that way you can get into the chat, or not, and just watch the program live. Or you can wait till after it's live, where it gets uploaded on my YouTube channel, as well as like it gets uploaded on my website, and watch it then. But either way, until we can get some answers and we can get YouTube to stop what they're doing, then I'm done with them. Okay? I've reached the point where I've had enough of this. It's not okay. I get it. It's a private company. The Second Amendment does not apply to private companies. They can do whatever the hell they want. And if they don't want you speaking the truth, then they have the right, sadly, to stop me and shut down my freedom of speech. And that's what they're done and continue to do. So again, go to Rumble. I hope you will. And I hope you will follow me there. And also on X, formerly Twitter. And we move forward. And hopefully we'll be doing some wonderful and great things in our near future. I want to do a quick shout out to, and I'm sure I'm going to get this name possibly wrong. And if I do, I apologize for that. But Jonathan Rosado, Rosado, he owns a company called Zulu Foxtrot Designs. All right. And I want you to go check out his website and his social media platforms, Zulu Foxtrot Designs. Jonathan has reached out to me, and today I received a bunch of his products to help show people, as well as help him promote his company. And it's some pretty cool stuff. These different patches for different type stuff like that. That's for Texas. Challenge coin. This is one for children that he sent. And just a whole bunch of different really cool stuff, different type patches and different type things. This is a Drone Elimination Unit, Department of Advanced Aerial Systems, which is pretty cool. So first off, Jonathan, thank you very much. I know that you tune into this show. I know that you watch this podcast on a regular basis, and I sure do appreciate it. And thank you so much for this wonderful gift. And, he designs all this stuff himself. And please go support him. Again, it's Zulu Foxtrot Designs. And he is the owner of the company. And you can find it at ZuluFoxtrotDesigns.com. So there you go. Thank you a bunch, Jonathan, for sending us all this cool stuff. We appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that are happening today. There is a bunch of stuff that is going down that is of importance to patriots. I know that one of the things that a lot of people want me to talk about, and I've told you I would talk about it, but so far what got released today is a nothing burger, and that is the Jeffrey Epstein files that the Department of Justice, ordered by Donald Trump, would release all that information to we the people. So we will know exactly how sick and perverted this son of a gun was, and all the other people that were involved in his sex trafficking ring and abusing young girls. Today's release, from what I've seen so far and other people I've talked to, is nothing new. It's stuff that's already been released. What Pam Bodie from the Department of Justice found out from FBI whistleblowers is the FBI did not turn over all the information on these files on Jeffrey Epstein. At their New York field office, they withheld hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of documents, videos, phone recordings. For what reason? Other than somebody at the FBI is covering for somebody in our government. And you may remember Chuck Schumer was hell-bent on when the Democrats were in control of the House and the Senate, was hell-bent on not allowing this information to get released. So I believe it's because there are some Democrats, and he's aware of it, that were involved with this Jeffrey Epstein deal. We know that Bill Clinton was. You know, how deep he was involved with it, we don't know yet because we can't see these files. So Pam Bodie gave Patel, the FBI director, I think until tomorrow to get this stuff released from the New York field office of the FBI. And he went out on X and basically said that if you don't release this stuff to us by tomorrow, somebody's going to go to freaking jail. He's coming down on them. He's going to find out who's responsible for deep sixing these Jeffrey Epstein files and videos and not allowing it to be released to the public. They were ordered by the President of the United States to release this stuff. He is the person that can make this happen. And he ordered his Department of Justice to make it happen and his FBI director to make it happen. And now there are FBI agents somewhere in that cluster of that group that is hiding this information and stopping it from coming out. So there's more to come with that. There's not really much else we can talk about with that other than we need it exposed. If there are co-conspirators and people that were involved with having sex with underage girls under this whole Jeffrey Epstein umbrella, then we deserve to know who it was. And then we deserve to see them prosecuted and arrested, just like Jeffrey Epstein was, just like his Glenroll Maxwell or whatever her freaking name is, that was his co-conspirator were. But they're the only two people that the FBI went after. And they kept all the rest of this stuff classified and secret. And the Democrats under Schumer made sure that it didn't get released. And now they're no longer in charge. And now that they're no longer in charge of all three branches of government, and all three branches of government have said, release it, there's somebody in the FBI withholding and not allowing that to happen. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out really, really soon what's going on there. And I expect within the next 48 hours to 72 hours to see somebody at the FBI getting arrested. Or Kash Patel is a wasted piece of shit if he doesn't. These people, whoever at the FBI did this, needs to be held accountable for their actions because they're defying an order from the president and the Department of Justice and the FBI director himself by not releasing this information and then lying about it and telling the Department of Justice that they had already released everything they had. And then thankfully, these whistleblowers from the FBI came out and said, time out. Nope. We got a ton of shit that you ain't seen. So more to come on that. Another thing that's recent, and I don't know how deep to go into this because I don't have all the facts on this yet. I'll just tell you this much. The former FBI director, James Comey, is about to be investigated by the Department of Justice and the new FBI director for corruption and things that they're now finding out now that we're in charge of the FBI again, the Department of Justice, that was done that was criminal, right? And I've talked about some of it in the past on my show. I've talked about some of it in the past in videos. And now this is a ticking time bomb. I just leave it at that. So expect to see something in the very near future, possibly next week or the week after next, where former FBI Director James Comey is going to be brought up on charges. All right. One of the things that we know that he is guilty of is allowing Hillary Clinton to walk. You think about this for a moment. James Comey came out, held a press conference, and told us all the felony federal crimes that Hillary Clinton committed with this email server crap and destroying emails and destroying electronic devices that she had that belonged to the government, and then said, we're not going to go for a prosecution because no reasonable prosecutor would hold her accountable because she didn't know any better. All right. Total bullshit lie, number one. And number two, that's not his job. That was the job of the Department of Justice to make that decision. Yet they allowed him to make that decision. That's illegal. Okay. He doesn't have that power. And Hillary Clinton got to walk and there were no charges brought. All right. I don't know what the statute of limitations is with what she did, but I assure you the Department of Justice and the FBI are looking into every angle they can to go back and hold that woman accountable for what she did. So expect that to be coming in the very near future. It is amazing what they're finding under rocks. Rocks being big buildings. Let's talk a little bit about an executive order from President Trump that took place on January 29th. He directed additional measures to fight those that are protesting not peacefully on college campuses across this country against Israel and attacking Jewish students and pushing propaganda for Hamas and Hezbollah. Some of them, many of them, being foreign students from Middle Eastern countries that are here in America on visas to go to school and then going on campus and acting like they act in the Middle East and getting away with it under the Biden-Harris administration. The FBI didn't hold them accountable. The Department of Justice didn't hold them accountable. And you saw it. It was all over the news. The videos of what these college students were doing. Anti-Israel, anti-Jewish stuff. To include members of our own Congress. Alihan Omar was involved with this. Rashid Tlaib was involved with this. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, was involved with this, all supporting these students. Well, he put out this directive that anything that these students do that's showing support for terrorist organizations, if they are here on a student visa, they will have the visas removed and they will be deported out of this country. And then those college students that are American citizens, basically young liberals, mostly women or girls, they're going to be charged as well. They're going to fall under this executive order to crack down on this stuff and basically supporting terrorism right here in America on American college campuses. So expect a lot to happen with that as we move forward in the coming months. Hope it's not years. Trump has said he's put out a directive to the Department of Justice and the FBI that when these college students start doing this stuff, do not rely on the people in charge of these campuses because they're liberal college campuses. Like you won't see them do this at University of Alabama or University of Mississippi or Florida or LSU, okay, or Longhorns over in Texas. No. You're going to see it on liberal college campuses. And their deans and those in charge are allowing these students to do that and turning down law enforcement asking to help them squash this and stop it. Well, now with these new directives from the president, we're not going to ask them what they think or whether or not they want to allow it. Nope. We're going to send in task force that would do the exact same thing that we're doing right now in sanctuary cities and sanctuary states when it comes to the illegal immigrants that are criminals that are here in our country. We're going to go in there regardless of what they say, and we're going to take action. So that is coming. That is happening as I speak. And so if you're an American and you've got a college kid that's out there protesting along with these people that are dressed up in Hamas, flying Hamas flags for crying out loud, taking down American flags on campus and hoisting up Hamas flags. We watched that shit happen under the Biden-Harris administration, and they didn't do anything about it. They did nothing. Okay, well, that's changing. So your little snot-nosed kid is about to have a rude awakening coming towards them. And parents, it's time you step up and jerk a knot in their ass because they're going to be in a lot of freaking trouble for supporting terrorism. Just like these liberal mayors and liberal city council members, in these liberal run cities and states for sanctuary for this kind of crap. Not anymore, because guess what? The drug cartels, the cartels in Mexico, Central and South America have now been labeled terrorist organizations. which allows our military active duty to get involved. And it allows law enforcement to have a huge open door to take these people out. And that is currently happening as I speak. There is going to be a major, major change on college campuses as well as in sanctuary cities and sanctuary states and these liberal mayors and governors that are out there saying we will not agree to what the federal government is saying. We passed our own laws making us a sanctuary city, have forgotten the oath that they took when they swore into those positions and forgot that, federal law trumps state and local laws. So I expect to see some people go to jail over this. Right now, Pam Bodie's saying we're suing them. Okay? Why waste your freaking time? Why? Just go lock their ass up. That's how you stop this sanctuary bullshit. That is the best way to do it. You go and you take these people out. And then that will stop. These sanctuary cities will stop that bullshit. All right? That's how you make it happen. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is we have President Trump on the fence right now about what he's doing with his Ukraine-Russia stuff. All right? He campaigned that he would stop that war. It would stop immediately when he took office. Well, that didn't happen. In fact, Russia is doubling down right now. For the first time throughout the 3 years of this war, Russia is now using their bomber aircraft to go over Ukraine and drop major munitions throughout places of Ukraine and killing more and more people. So Trump recently, as you are all aware, because he got upset with the Ukrainian president, called him a dictator because he's not holding elections. And he's saying that it's going to be his way or no way until the war's over with. And he's unwilling to work at all with the Trump administration and Russia to help this come to an end. So Trump referred to him as a dictator. All right. Today, when pushed by a reporter on this, Trump all of a sudden, and you can see it, if you haven't already seen it, it's all over social media, said, did I say that? I don't remember saying that. Like he don't remember calling him a dictator. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why he did that. But let me just tell you this much. If I were president of the United States, I'll tell you exactly how you stop Putin and make him stop this war. The same way it should have been done in the beginning before the war started. You tell Putin that in 48 hours between this time period and this time period, on these dates, we're sending American forces into Ukraine. And if one is injured or hurt, we're not going there to be aggressive towards you. We're going in there to support this country that we're partnered with. And we're talking about right now getting some type of minerals out of their ground and shit like that. All right. I don't know what all that's about. Haven't even paid much attention to it because everything else is going on. But that's going to require American companies going in there. Okay. So that's one way. Hey, we're sending in American troops in a support role in a rebuilding effort. And you better not harm a single person. Or then our forces are actively engaged and our forces can take Moscow and wipe it off the face of the earth. That's one way that will get Putin to back down. The other way is say, hey, check this out, sir. Either you stop this war cold turkey, or we will push forward with Ukraine to become a member of NATO, which is the last thing Russia wants. Pretty damn simple. If we support Ukraine becoming a member of NATO, that is the last thing Russia wants to see happen. Because then NATO forces will go after their ass. So play their freaking dumb game. Stop the war. And Trump's already said, as has Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, that we do not support Ukraine becoming a part of NATO. Change it. Stop the war, or we're pushing for them to become part of NATO. And then if you continue to attack them, guess what? All NATO forces are going to start bombing the shit out of you. Boom. The war's over. I guarantee it. He will back down. But for whatever reason, we're playing this game. And in the middle of playing this game, more innocent men, women, and children are dying. And Ukraine is being turned into just, they've destroyed everything. They're literally just blowing the shit out of everything for what? And look, well, the Ukrainian president he's got nothing in this game, to be honest with you, because without America's weaponry, he would already be taken into custody by Russia. Russia would have taken over Ukraine in a matter of hours. Give it 2 days, had it not been for our weaponry. And then weaponry coming from NATO forces. And yet, he wants to have a part of his say. No. It's time that Trump step up and make some bold moves with this and not stretch this out anymore, because the longer he waits, the more innocent lives are going to be lost. I'm not in his mind. Obviously, I can't predict what he's going to do in the next minute, much less what he's thinking down the road. But what I'm hearing him say each day, I don't know. You're hearing it too. All right. I just believe that there needs to be another way there are other ways to make this war come to an end, and an end very, very fast. And why we're not going down that road, I don't know. Other than maybe they think, as in the Trump administration, that if they did that, Russia would start using nuclear weapons, which they've already threatened to do. They threatened it throughout the entire Biden-Harris administration, and Biden-Harris, just every red line that Russia put out there, Putin crossed. Okay? Every red line that we put out there, Putin crossed. And they didn't do anything. They didn't go to nuclear weapons. So, I don't know. I think at this point, it's worth saying, hey, here's your options. Stop the war, or we're going to allow them to go into NATO, or we're putting boots on the ground and you better not harm a single American service member. If you do, all bets are off. Those two ways, either one of those, and that war comes to a stop. I mean, that's just simple freaking common sense. Everybody I've spoken with, my military buddies, prior military service members, people that, you know, I served in combat with, we're all in the same agreement that this is how you stop this shit. You know, go back to when Russia started this war. Once they started building up their forces on that border, if we would have put boots on the ground right then and there, Russia would have never went in there out of fear that American service members would be killed. And then that'd be it. But we had a commander-in-chief, an administration. There were a bunch of weak-ass wimps that wouldn't stand up to nothing. And Putin saw how Biden and Harris treated the Afghanistan withdrawal and that cluster, and then decided that he's a pushover. We can do whatever the hell we want. And he's not going to do anything about it. So there are a lot of countries that are fearful of Donald Trump, as they were the last time he was in office. And those countries are still fearful of Donald Trump. So freaking, I want to see some action moving in a right direction. I've been to war 4 times. I've seen death and destruction. I don't want to see war anymore. But if our forces have to get involved, then it needs to be something that's overwhelming, which is our typical go-to model. Shock and awe. All right. And we may see that in the very near future when it comes to what's taking place over with Israel and Hamas. Hamas is not living up to their end of the bargain. They have killed, murdered, tortured American citizens, Israeli citizens. Trump put out a directive that every single one of those hostages will be released before I assume office, or all hell will break loose. Well, he's been in office for 30 days now, and no hell has broke loose at all. And Hamas is still dribbling out 1 or 2 hostages, 3 or 4 hostages, when they've got 100 or more. Whether they're dead or alive. Some of them are coming out alive. Some of them are coming out in coffins. Then they're parading them around in front of all their people and humiliating them before they turn them over. And that needs to stop. It needs to stop. Something has to be done to bring that mess to an end, and really, really quick. Because for every day Israel isn't bombing the shit out of Hamas, they're regrouping, they're rebuilding. And where are they getting the support to do that? From the #1 sponsor of terrorism on planet Earth, Iran. What is Iran threatening to do? Continuing their nuclear program, continuing to make a nuclear weapon, continuing to find a way to take that nuclear weapon and put it in an ICBM so they can, quote, in their own words, wipe Israel off the face of the earth. So the only way that Iran is going to stop this is a massive NATO attack on their military command and control structure, their military, their Air Force, their Navy, their Army. Just annihilate it. And we can do it without a single boot on the ground. Our Air Force and our Navy, along with a coalition of NATO forces and Israel, have the power to do that and do it just like that, and it's over. Iran will never be, and Trump says they're never going to have a nuclear weapon. It won't happen on my watch. Well, then you're going to have to do something about it. Bomb the living shit out of their facilities that are building nuclear weapons. I mean, that's, maybe I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I've got too much common sense when it comes to how to conduct warfare. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that the only way, there is no negotiation with terrorism organizations. You can't negotiate with the cartel. You can't negotiate with the Taliban. You can't negotiate with Hamas or Hezbollah or Al Qaeda. You can only kill them. That's your only option. They want to die because then they think they can, if they die a martyr, they think they're going to go to heaven, and their Allah is going to give them all this, 72 versions or whatever. They're probably going to be 72 goats because they like that. Anyhow, so I am still 100% behind everything Donald Trump is doing for America. But I've got some concerns over why he's doing what he's doing when it comes to ending this war with Putin and Ukraine and Israel and Hamas. I hope that there's things going on in the background that I'm going to oh, now I get it. I expect that to happen any day. But in the meantime, I'm listening, I'm watching, and it just doesn't add up. Hope that changes, and changes really, really quickly. Anyhow, you had a lot of places you could be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. I thank you very, very much. Again, go to Rumble, follow the Douglas Ducote Show there, as well as on X, formerly Twitter. Republicans and conservatives are thriving on X now, as well as Rumble. And that is the go-to place. And we need to get away from any platform that supports the far left. And until further notice, I'm doing that with this live show on the YouTube platform. If anything breaks of importance between now and next Tuesday's show, I will come on here and tell you about it, put a video out about it. Our plan, or the plan, is my wife and I are going to be up in British Columbia, leaving on Sunday. But right now, my special needs son is under the weather. He's a little sick right now, so I don't know if I'm going to be delayed in going. If I am, then I will do the show on Tuesday night as planned. If he doesn't get better, then, or if he does get better, then I will meet her over there. Either way, we're kind of up in the air on that. But it looks like at this moment that the show will be air live on Tuesday as normal. But I will let you know that in the community section of my channels. And I will also be putting out a special video in the next 24 hours in regards to this move that we're doing off of the YouTube platform. Thank you. God bless you. You had many places you could be tonight. You chose to be here with me. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. And I sure hope that you will join me on Rumble. Go there tonight and follow the Douglas Ducote Show, as well as on X. That's where conservatives and Republicans are going. And it's a damn good thing. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you very, very soon.